YouTube, what's up? Mostly Nerdy, doing yet another Dark Souls 3 video. And if you have seen any of my videos, which you probably haven't because the only people who watch my videos are my mom and my fiance. So thanks for being the third person to watch my video. But we are right after Dragon Slayer armor, so right after this boss fight is where we're at. We're gonna pick up this item, but we're gonna take our sweet time because I don't know why. I don't know why, and it's a Titanite chunk, so whatever. But that was the only reason to come over to this side. I knew there was a reason to come over here, but that was it. And then just to satisfy your curiosity, there is nothing over here on the left. So we're gonna go up the stairs and we're going to go straight ahead and we are going to see a bonfire immediately. So let's go ahead and light this bonfire, and don't necessarily need to rest right now because we saw 0 enemies from bonfire to bonfire. So we'll just pick up that key to the Grand Archives, and then I will show you this elevator that cannot be used yet. But we are going to love that elevator here in a second. So we are going to use the key we just picked up to open up this door and head into the Grand Archives. So once you come in here, first thing that's going to happen is Crystal Sage is going to attack you. So death transition, because I'm so good at those. So if you go up to the left and you take these stairs up, you will see a crystal lizard straight ahead, and you can chase it down. If you chase it down here, you're not going to be able to get back up, but you can take out this crystal lizard and you will get a crystal gem and twinkling titanite. So 2 for the price of 1, not bad. But you cannot get back up. That's alright, this all kind of ties together anyway. There's like all sorts of pathways you can take to get back to where you need to be. But you pick up this soul and then you are ambushed by one of these little guys and make quick work of them. Get your item from killing him, and then we will end up back on this path, and we can go straight ahead, and to the right there's this item right here, and then you get ambushed yet again. I'm starting to see a pattern forming here. Apparently anytime you get anything good, something bad happens too. So eye for an eye, I guess. And then if you come up these stairs and then you fall down the stairs, nothing happens. It just happens. So you saw all those enemies there. I ignored them right now. And then there's this knight, which I cannot ignore. No matter how much I wish I could, you cannot ignore this guy. So he's just coming at me, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna go ahead and kill this guy. So get a backstab, and then just start doing your typical technique, whatever it is, against knights with spears, and eventually he'll go down. It takes a little bit of time. They are starting to get higher HP, so just takes a little bit longer to kill these guys now, especially if you have not been farming. Not that I haven't been farming, but it takes a lot of farming to make up for my lack of skill anyway. So pick up the titanite chunk on the right and then come into this room, and then you can pick up that item as well, and then we are all good in this room, so we can leave. I said we can leave. Anyway, we can go, and then there are items down here. I am actually just going to skip that for now because I don't know why, but I did. So go back to the main path, and then we are back in this room that has all the enemies that have like the wax on their heads. I thought that was an illusionary bookcase. That is not the case. So, I'm clever. anyway, you can take these guys out. They don't have a lot of health, but they do an okay amount of damage with their range attacks, not so much their melee attacks. And in this room, at least, there is a decent amount of them, so they can do an okay amount of damage. So just get rid of them, make it a little easier on yourself, because there's something you have to do over here in the wax. You have to dunk your head into the wax, and I guess you don't necessarily have to, but you're gonna thank me when you do. So after you dunk your head in the wax, you can go into this doorway right here. Just kidding, I got trapped, and then I broke my way through because I'm a beast. But it's kind of dark in here, but you can see that there's a crystal lizard right there. So I'm going to chase this guy down. He runs up the stairs, but something to note, those arms are not hitting me, and the reason they are not hitting me is because of the wax that is on my head. There is another crystal lizard right there as well. So if you do not dunk your head in the wax, they will hit you and it causes curse, I think. So it will eventually kill you just standing in those arm areas, because there's multiples. As you can see, there's another one. Seems like they've set them in a lot of areas where there would be items to pick up or anything like that. So now we can head up the stairs, and if you go to the left, there is an item and an enemy and some more arms to attack you. So kill the enemy, avoid the arms if you don't have your head in wax, and pick up the item. And then there is another enemy coming through this doorway. I should note that these enemies can get rid of your wax. They do have an attack where they get rid of your wax, and that can be detrimental for you in your quest to not die. So once you come into this room, the crystal sage will attack you again, and you'll be able to see that there's this item to the right of the door we just came in, another titanite chunk. And I'm going to go ahead and transition because I died. So if you come up this way and you go up these stairs, there's an enemy up this way, and you can see my souls because this is where I died, because the crystal sage is just attacking you the entire time you're in here, and plus I got ambushed. So just watch out for that. From there, you can drop down and pick up that item that's on that bookshelf, but I didn't that time. So pick up this item since we're here. This is going to be the area where we go to here in a second, but there's some more stuff over here that we're going to do. So you can come up these stairs, and then you can see that there's already an enemy here. And then some more enemies and an item. And there's another spot to dunk your head in case you did lose your wax. But pick up the titanite chunk, dunk your head if you have to. And then you can see that the crystal sage is still attacking us. So coming up this way, more of these little enemies, and then I'm going to heal up, try to heal up anyway, and then I'm going to drop down and land on this bookshelf and pick up the item, and then drop back down to get back on the path. So that was a titanite scale, so either worth it or it's not, whatever. So you can, I'm going to dunk my head just for good measure here, because I don't know if there's a time limit on it, or if the only way you can lose it is with getting attacked by that certain attack from the enemies. But while you're out here, there is this ladder. So we're going to take this ladder up, and this is the path to continue forward, and the crystal sage is literally right in front of us. So you might be able to get some attacks in, try to get the health down a little bit. Eventually it will go away, and then you are stuck with this guy who is in the corner. So you can get rid of him, and then the crystal sage is kind of across the way attacking you now, and then there's some more enemies this way. A couple of the little guys trying to hit you with fire bombs. If you're like me, then they're successfully hitting you with the fire bombs. But we can take out this guy first. Eventually, stop getting hit by everything. Take that guy out, and then heal up, and then that guy fell on me. Did 1 HP damage, like a jerk. But you come up these stairs, nothing. So, you can go forward and kill this guy hiding in the corner and pick up the item that's in the corner, Titanite scale, and then go forward some more, and there is a ladder here that we can use to get down to that item, and there is also some other stuff down here too. So first thing we'll do is pick up the item here. Try not to get hit too much while we're doing it, because apparently we left somebody behind to attack us a bunch. There's the crystal sage, but if you go this way first, there is a knight. So we're going to try to do a sneak up and backstab on this guy. Let's see if we can do so successfully. And backstab, and then kick. And I thought he was going to fall, but he didn't. Ah, there we go. Ha, fell. So, that's one forced fall to the ground death for the enemies in this video. So, good on me. But now we got that crystal stage to worry about. So, if you wait until it does one of its attacks, give yourself a little bit of a window to charge, and then you can charge, and he could probably still get one more attack in on you, but you can chase him down and get a decent amount of hits on him here on the bridge. And then I thought that he was going to go super far away, but no, he's literally like 20 yards away from where he was. So we can run over here and we can just finish him off real quick. I'm not sure if this is the last place that he teleports to or whatever, but this is the last place he made it to whenever I was playing. So whenever you kill him, you get the crystal scroll, which you can give to one of the NPCs at Firelink Shrine, and you learn more stuff from them. So we're gonna go back up these stairs real quick, because I think we left some stuff like this item here in the corner, which is a Titanite scale, and that's really all I care about because I saw it. So I'm going to grab that real quick and then come back down, and then we're going to go back to where the crystal sage was, and there is a path you can take here where you drop down and get that crystal lizard. I dropped down the first time and I missed, so I'm going to transition and do it for real this time. So we can get that guy and get our item, and it's a Titanite scale. And then if you go over this way, I can see that other item. I probably went the wrong way to get it, but you know, it happens. So I just dropped down and then immediately regretted dropping down. It was very much Ron Burgundy. I immediately regret this decision because I just dropped down right in front of the knight, and then I fell down here. This was the area where there was some items, but I apparently picked those up in between making these videos. So we are kind of back to the beginning of the Grand Archives, so you can go back to the bonfire from here and heal and fill your flask and stuff. just know that all the enemies will be back if you do so, because that's not any fun, because I'm assuming that a lot of the enemies are kind of hard to deal with, although if you did what I did and you beat the Crystal Sage, it shouldn't be too hard after a little bit. So just make your way back to the area we were. You can just follow my video if you want, although I don't think I take the best approach, but it will get you where you need to be. So just follow this path up these stairs, and then we will end up going straight ahead. And this is where we saw the first crystal wizard, and we could take these stairs up and turn around because that's not the right way, and then take this way, and then this should look a little familiar. This is where we first dunked our heads, so if you need to, dunk your head like I do because I need to, and then run through this pathway again and straight up the stairs that are to the right. And we will make this as quick as possible to get back to where we need to be. If it's not worth it to you to pick up what you get from that crystal wizard, then you can just ignore this part, which is probably too late since we're almost already back to where we need to be. I probably should have told you that at the beginning of this, but I didn't, so tough. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Kinda sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to. I'm really sorry. Anyway, so just run and get to the ladder that is over here and slide on down or climb down if you want to take your sweet time. And then we are almost back to the bridge that we were at. So here we go. Pick up where we left off. There's that room. There's where we dropped down at. So if you go this way through the stairs or up the stairs, I mean, you can try to go through the stairs, but I don't think that glitch is there. So there is an elevator here that if you get on it, it's going to go down, and then you will see where it takes you here in a second. You can just come off and oops. Anyway, so you can go this way, and then there is this doorway, and there's a lever to the right of it that you can pull, and it opens up, and you can see that it takes you back to pretty much the beginning of the Grand Archives. This is about where the Crystal Sage showed up to start tormenting you throughout the Grand Archives. So if you are better at getting off of elevators than I am and did not send the elevator back up, then just get on the elevator. If you are horrible at not pushing buttons whenever you don't want to push buttons, get the elevator back on your level, and then we can continue on with the story of Dark Souls 3. So we can come this way, and there's some stairs here, and it's going to lead us to an area that has some of the wax enemies that are going to be shooting you from a distance with their weapons, and there are arms in this area, so be aware of that if you do not have the wax. We can come back here and pick up this item real quick. It is some souls, there are arms, and there's enemies. There's a lot going on here, so if you get through that and don't have too many issues, you can see that chest there, but I saw an enemy that was coming up from the side, and I'm going to take him out, and I'm actually going to run past this chest because I'm not sure if it's a mimic at this point, and I have a lot of souls and I don't want to lose them. So but if you come up these stairs to the right, there is a crystal wizard, but it's kind of a trap because there's arms all day, and you can see that I don't have my wax on my head anymore. And then if you get that item that's back there, that is a flesh bite ring. And then I transitioned because I kind of ran around for a while like an idiot. Um, but I'm going to come back here and I'm going to test out this chest just to see if it's a mimic or not, to uh, ease your guys' worries about this chest that I'm about to let get away without doing anything. But if you come up here, there's nothing you can do. I can get hit apparently, but that's about it. So um, I'm gonna heal up, and then I'm gonna test out this chest, and it's not a mimic. So I wasted all that time and all that worry on something that I didn't have to worry about it at all. So, but yeah, you can go get that flesh bite ring too. I forgot about it, so I just went down this ladder and progressed on through the story. But so if you go this way, I was convinced that that was going to attack me. That was sticking out of the building, but it didn't do anything. But I did see this item off in the distance, and my greed and my curiosity are about to get me in a bit of a pickle. So you can run and pick this up, and it's a Titanite chunk. And then I was like, gargoyle, what? And then this gargoyle started attacking me. You can actually get away from it, and it won't follow you, or at least it didn't follow me. So if you don't want to fight it, you don't have to. You can kind of use my technique here, but I'm going to go back and fight it anyway. These guys weren't too bad whenever you were at the profane capital, but it does look like they have a little bit better defense against my attacks, but they do have the same attacks to begin with, so same techniques apply as profane capital, and then eventually they'll go down, but after you take him out, you can follow this path and go across the rooftops, and then once you hit the area that is over here, you will have to turn the corner to the left, and there is another gargoyle, and I went a transition because I homeward boned so I could level up my guy, but there is this gargoyle right here that you can take out as he's going to get in your way. So just get rid of him so that you can pick up the item there, and it is some souls. And then you see two crystal lizards that don't really run away from you or anything, so although that one ran away and I got it, which means I probably missed the other one, so we can come back to that one if you want to. Just kidding, he transformed into a gargoyle. You didn't see it happen, so it could have happened, but I doubt that that's what happened. But this is the third gargoyle in this area, so you should be pretty good at the technique of getting rid of these guys. I was actually kind of worried that my attacks were not going to do that much damage against these guys, because at the profane capital that was the case. It kind of took a little bit for me to chip away at their health. It's not exactly the issue anymore, and with the experience that I have now fighting these guys, it's a little easier to evade their attacks. So the fact that they do more damage is not too pressing, but we can follow this path, and then that's a boarded up window that you can't go into, and then we could follow up here along this route and read this message. be wary of duo. So that item there is the item that I couldn't pick up earlier because I couldn't jump that high. But whenever he said be wary of duo, this is what he meant. There is one gargoyle, and then there's going to be another one here in a second. But I'm going to try to keep them separated to make it easier on myself. And you should probably do the same thing, because I give the best advice ever whenever it comes to fighting two things at once, which is divide and conquer. I am such a good strategist. I probably came up with that idea. I don't know anybody who's ever used that idea in the past. So we can take out this one too, and then I think this might be the last gargoyle in this rooftop area. At least I hope so, because how many times can you watch me fight a gargoyle without getting bored, or listen to my bad jokes without thinking I'm not funny and hating my guts? Probably 2 or 3 more times, unless you think that I'm cute, which means that you probably got tired of me like 3 or 4 jokes ago. But anyway, we're gonna go across these rooftops, and there's gonna be over here a little platform that we can drop down to. Just for good measure, you might want to jump or at least run like I did to make sure you don't fall to your death. I fall to my death way too much. That's why I suggest that, because I'm starting to notice a pattern of whenever I play Dark Souls 3, I fall to my death. So, kill this guy, and then up here is the room where I was convinced that there was a mimic, but there's not. This is the upper area of that room. So there was an undead bone shard there and some ember, so not bad. I'm starting to really enjoy the undead bone shards. There's another area to dunk your head, so I'm going to do that because I haven't dunked my head in quite some time, and I was starting to worry that I didn't look waxy enough. So if you go this way, then you'll see that there's somebody waiting to ambush you. I'm going to hit you in the face with a throwing knife, jerk. And then there's actually one of his buddies, so they're trying to gang up on you. So you got 2 of these little guys, and one of them is going to try to hit you from a distance. If you have your shield, make quick work of them because they get knocked back. And then you can see that there is a knight over here. It says a liar ahead, and he's pointing at something, but I don't know what he's pointing at because that's not an illusionary wall. So he's pointing to a wall, and it says liar ahead. I don't know what some of these messages mean, but you can see that there is the knight right there. So I'm going to try to sneak up on this guy and get a backstab. That is my bread and butter in this game, and I cannot perform my bread and butter because Dark Souls 3. So we can try to get another backstab. There we go. I guess I'm only better at it whenever the target's moving, so that makes sense. I can't hit a stationary target, but a moving target, no problem. So if you come out this way, there's this item here. But we're actually going to come back to this here in a second, because there is a ulterior motive to this area. So really there was no real point to coming this way yet. So we are going to go through these doors and then be prepared, because this is going to be quite a battle, and I think I got kind of lucky here with the way that they approached me, because there are 3 enemies here, and these enemies are the NPC style hostile enemies. So be aware that you got 3 guys coming at you, and they are basically 3 different builds that they have. So Once you get to a certain point, they're going to start coming after you. And I am trying to be kind of sneaky. It's not really going to work. So just kind of come up and lure them towards you. And then you have 3 of them coming after you. So go ahead and back up and see if you can separate them a little bit. And the first one is kind of just a straight brute attack. He can roll around pretty easily, but he is straight physical damage and straightforward attacks. Not really much going on in terms of his atonement or anything like that. So he should be pretty easy for you to beat. He is kind of powerful whenever he does hit you though, so watch out for that. And he wasn't necessarily easy to get backstabs on, but that's 1 down, and then pick up the shield that he drops. This other guy is more of a sorcery kind of guy. He's hitting you with staff and all of his magic attacks, so he does not have good damage resistance, but be aware that he will parry you pretty easily, so the best approach that you can get is get him while he is trying to attack you, because he basically parried everything I tried to do. And while I did not die fighting these 3 guys, that was almost rage quit worthy if that were to keep happening. So what I'm trying to do is fight fire with magic and get him from range the way that he is getting me. Problem is that my range attacks are pretty weak, so what I'm going to do is try using fire bombs and throwing knives because they seem to do a little bit more damage than my actual attacks. So however you want to do it, it seems like range is probably the best way to take this guy out if you can avoid his attacks. What I'm going to do, since my guy is so weak in terms of range attacks, I am just going to charge this guy and wait for my opening on physical damage, because like I said, he is pretty susceptible to physical damage, and immediately this other guy will try to attack you. This guy probably gave me the most issues in terms of the 3 guys that you have to fight right here. He will get you from range, and then he will attack you pretty close with some quick damaging attacks. So it seems like this guy would be the equivalent of a dex build. Basically he is what I try to be, and he just does it better than me. I am trying to get backstabs whenever he does those lunging attacks, but it doesn't seem to be working. And I seem to be doing less damage. There we go. But the backstab did a good amount of damage, and then I was able to attack that guy pretty successfully afterwards. So maybe he didn't give me the most issues out of any of them. It was probably the sorcerer build, or magic build, or mage build, or whatever you want to call it. But now I'm just making sure that there are no items in the area, and it doesn't look like there are any except for the one on the stairs that I clearly see. You don't have to point it out to me. It's there. I know it's there. So we can pick that up, and it is some souls. So just follow this path here, and making sure there's no enemies, and I don't see any enemies, but what I do see is an elevator. So these stairs lead to the path that we're about to take, and we are going to go down this elevator real quick. I'm going to show you something. So if you remember correctly, At the beginning of this video, I said, we're gonna love this elevator. This is the elevator I was talking about. Remember, you guys are reunited and you guys love each other now. So I'm gonna skip my leveling up and all that stuff because nobody cares about me leveling up. So take the elevator back up, and then man, that's a glitchy elevator. So this is where we just were, where all the NPCs came from, and then this path um, has a few areas that we can go to. The first one is up the stairs to the right, and then there's this one that is up these stairs. So if you go up these stairs and you go to the left, there is this item on this ledge on a corpse. So pick up the souls, and then we can go this way through this break in the ledge and follow the rooftop, and there are these stairs, and I will tell you that this area is a pretty popular area for farming, particularly if you have the mimic helmet. And I will also tell you that the first time that you kill all of these enemies, you get a Titanite slab. So that was actually the first Titanite slab that I got. So you can try to separate them out, see if you can get them one by one, because there are a total of 3 of these guys. So try to get backstabs. It's still pretty easy to get backstabs against these guys, and you can easily dodge and just rinse and repeat. But you can see how many souls I get, because I have 0 right now, and I got over 17,000 just from that enemy, and there are 3 of them up here. So I do have the Silver Serpent Ring, and I do have the Shield of Want equipped, so those help me get more souls. The Mimic Helmet also helps you get more souls, so if you want to farm, this is a pretty popular area for that. And I apologize for all the glitchiness in my video. I have some super cheap equipment, and it is really showing right now. But you still get the gist of what I'm doing. So here is the last of these enemies. I think they're called Winged Knights. So last one in the area, and same technique: backstabs, evade, and then backstab. So rinse and repeat. And whenever they're getting up, you can obviously get a couple hits in on them. But the first time, like I said, you kill all 3 of them, you get a Titanite slab. And then there's a path you can take, but don't take that path just yet, because there is an item up here that you're going to want to grab, and I'm not sure exactly which end it's at, but you can just stay along this path, and then I'm going to run up these stairs, try to find this for you guys, because it's a good item to grab. Okay, so it's down here. You can't see it from here, but you gotta run to the very back and pick it up, and it is an Estus shard. And that is actually the last Estus shard that I had to grab to have every single Estus shard in the game. So that is going to help you a decent amount. And then there is nothing else going on up here, so you got an option that you can take this path, which is what I'm going to do, or you can just run back to the main path via the stairs. but there are some items up here that you can grab. So just look for the openings to drop down, and then there's this item in the cage, and then you can drop down on these beams, and you can see an item kind of far away back behind where you land, and it's a blessed gem. Be careful here. Despite my history of falling to my death, I did not fall to my death here, but it is probably very, very easy to do so. As you can tell, I landed with 1 foot on the beam, and then there's this enemy who's going to shoot that at you, and you can get rid of him. And I was looking for a safe spot to drop down. So if you take this way that I'm going, you can see where we're at. This area is right before we fought the 3 NPCs. You cannot jump up there, but this is right before we fought those 3 NPCs that had the 3 different builds. You can see I almost fell to my death there, guys. That was almost going to be in one of my other videos. But you can actually drop down on this ledge here and take a little bit of damage. But if you drop down again, you see that there is a knight there. And we'll go ahead and take care of this knight. And then I will show you where we are. I have leveled up my guy a couple times since we last fought this knight, so he's a little bit easier, but even one of my criticals did not take him out. It left him with just enough to get hit one more time. But so you can see that we are back in the area before we fought those 3 NPCs, where I said there was an ulterior motive to having this part to the game. It was because this is the way you come back after getting all those extra goodies. So we can take out these guys and then get back on the main path. So these guys are just a little annoying right now, and heal back up, and then we will head back onto the main path. And the good news is that you do not have to fight those NPCs again, so you can just run through here and get back to the stairs that we need to get to, or if you skip that entire optional area, this is where you're going to end up anyway. You can see immediately that I have souls right there, so it is very possible to die here. One, these enemies are not as easy as they used to be, as we learned from the Dragon Barracks. So you can use your techniques that you've been using though, backstabs and stuff like that. But be aware that it's not just melee enemies, there are enemies with crossbows, and they are kind of hidden behind these boards here. So eventually they will start shooting at you. The best approach that you can do is kind of try to separate out the enemies so that you don't get overwhelmed. But you can see I'm getting shot from the left there, and then I'm going to take this guy out real quick, and then there's one over here on the right that we can get rid of, and then there are a couple that hang out together also on the right hand side. But you can see that there is a knight coming my way, and he's got a couple of lackeys with him too. So I'm going to let him charge at me and try to get out of the range of the crossbow and try to take out this knight. So just kind of back up, and you can see that they're still shooting me, but I don't seem to be in any like real danger right now in terms of getting hit by them, so I can take out that knight and not have to worry about fighting a bunch of them at once. but then he did have 3 guys with him, so you got 3 guys with shields who do pretty good amount of damage. Just keep in mind that you can really only get 1 attack in after you block with your shield, and they will kind of try to take turns at getting you, so I didn't even get 1 attack there before he had his shield back up, so just be aware that that's possible too. But you can see how low my health is, so I'm going to heal up and then try to take them out one by one. Try not to let them sandwich you, because they will try to do that. This is kind of tedious and ridiculous that it is this hard to kill some basic Beckies of Dark Souls, but they are just really strategic in the sense that they immediately get their shield back up and they kind of take turns trying to hit you, so if you are locked onto one of them, then the other one will try to hit you, and if they are not right next to each other, your shield doesn't really do anything, so we will run up, and this is where the 2 enemies with the crossbows are that were attacking me while I was trying to fight the knight. But I'm going to go pick up this item real quick, and it's a Titanite chunk, so even the basic Beckies are giving you Titanite chunks now. So you know that we are probably getting kind of close to the end of the game here. But there is another knight and another knight, so I am going to try to divide and conquer here. This is actually kind of hard to do, so the reason it's hard to do is because this guy will charge you for a little bit and then he will start walking again, so he doesn't get too far out in front of the other knight, and they kind of just keep going. So they kind of just keep walking forward, so it makes it kind of hard to separate them out. And in case you didn't see that, there is a 3rd knight coming this way, so this is why it is very possible to die in this area. So just try to divide and conquer, or at least try to get some damage in on one of them before you end up with 2 of them right next to each other. I kind of lucked out, and it looks like the one that was right next to this one is kind of backed off a little bit, and I said that a little bit too soon because here he comes. The good news is that I already did some damage to a couple of them, and then it looks like the one that's right there I haven't done any damage to yet, so, but we will get backstab in on this guy, and it does a decent amount of damage, so they don't have like a whole bunch of health or anything, and we don't have to worry about them getting healed by any of those healers or anything that were in the dragon barracks or anything like that, so that's good news for us. So it looks like I kind of backed up far enough to where they let off a little bit, so we'll see if I can lure out one of them without having to fight 2 of them at the same time. So there's that one. I'm going to let him come at me. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. I missed. Backstab. I'm so good. You're probably still impressed right now. And then one more, and we can get rid of this guy. Not anything to worry about really at this point. I mean, obviously he can still kill you, but there's only one of them left. The thing that makes this area difficult is the fact that you are fighting multiples of enemies that are capable of killing you by themselves. So divide and conquer, and then eventually you will prevail there. I died plenty of times trying to fight that group of guys, so we can rejoice that that area is done. This is not like the NPCs from before. they do come back. So this area can be kind of a rough area if you have to keep coming through here. But as the message says, praise the shortcut. So this area right here is a shortcut. This elevator goes down, and it is kind of a long elevator, but that's okay because any shortcut that can make it so you don't have to fight these guys again is good. And we are back at Lothric Castle. I didn't show you the trip that I made back to the bonfire, but it takes you back to the Dragon Slayer armor bonfire after beating that boss, which is right before the Grand Archives. So that's where you'll end up. But if you come back up here and you rested or anything like that, the group of knights that you just fought will be back, but you can kind of hang back and let them walk by, and you don't have to fight them again. And you're going to want to avoid that fight, at least for right now, because we're going to open up these doors, and it's going to take us straight into a boss fight. I didn't have any summon signs for NPCs, so I might not have done the prerequisites, or maybe there aren't any, but I did have some summon signs for uh, other players, so I got lucky. And I tried this a couple times with just one summon, and I still had issues. And I'll explain to you why I had the issues here. So I went ahead and I used one of the dried fingers to get 2 summons, but these are the twin princes, and right now we are just fighting the first phase of this fight, which is just this guy. And as you can tell, he does fire damage, and he can teleport. He does significant damage. There's a lot of damage whenever he hits you, but he does telegraph his attacks pretty significantly, so he is easy to avoid. That is the drawback for his fighting style. So you should be able to avoid his attacks, roll out of them, and then just get your attacks in whenever you can. This wasn't the difficult part of this fight, so this is pretty straightforward, nothing major. We will have a cutscene, and then after the cutscene, there is this phase, which both of the twin princes are involved now. We have the original prince, and then we have the prince on the back. So this is where I started having issues. Not issues with the attacks or anything like that. You can still roll out and avoid this attack from the original prince that you were fighting. What happens is, once that prince runs out of health, the other prince will revive him. So really you need to focus your attacks on the prince on the back. That is the hard part that I was running into whenever I only had 1 summon or 0 summons. So I could kill this prince like twice, but then I would end up dying again, while this guy just kept reviving him. So that was the issue that I was having. It wasn't the attacks themselves. The other prince on the back will sometimes attack with range attacks, and that can be kind of a pain, because then you have super powerful attacks coming at you from the original prince, and then you have the ranged attacks. But eventually, once you kill the one on the back, you'll be able to say that you beat this area, and this was a pretty fun area, but we finally have the cinders of that lord, and we got some goodies from it. And then there's a bonfire you can light, and we'll go ahead and we'll say we're done with this area. So like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. It's all good. We're almost done with this game, and we can celebrate the fact that we just beat that guy. And as always, guys, stay nerdy, stay nerdy.